So when I first decided that I wanted to assistant direct, I was working as an acting coach in one of the main stages. Go there and work with the creative team and help to design the sets and just the whole feel of the play. I helped with the casting of all of the kids that would be in the play, and it was just an awesome experience.
So I think the first internship really served as like getting to know the kind of people I was working with. Because it's a lot of the same kids. Just getting to know which ones are more rowdy and which ones are more quiet, which ones listen. And so, and really just, because I believe Noah was the assistant director for the first one, and just really getting to observe as to like what they were doing, because at that point I was just like shh.
I think it was the first year that the media started, first or second, so there wasn't a whole lot of like structure. It was kind of just show up to these few things and we'll do this, and show up to that and we're gonna try to do this. And so it was a lot of self-teaching. I had to teach myself a lot of stuff. I had to learn on the spot. I had to look up a lot of YouTube videos. And I went from helping out on a few documentaries to designing some logos, the show logo for Beauty and the Beast, and filming the senior interview last year and directing that. And then this year I was the media director.
So I definitely think that at the beginning I didn't really want to do anything because I was scared of doing this stuff. I didn't know what to expect, but then I think that over the course of time working with AWIP, I was able to step out of my comfort zone and just do more experience, try new things, and that really helped me a lot.
It's definitely helped me bring up my confidence levels of going up to people and getting a video or a picture and not just standing on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great feeling because you enter the first week of a junior production with a whole bunch of like insane kids that don't listen, that might fight with each other, and you're like, how is this going to come together? This is going to be a mess this year. Every single year you think it's going to be a mess, and then as you go on, you see the kids put in all this hard work, and then you work with all the other interns that are there that are all pouring out like everything that they have to make these kids better, and then by the end when you come to the show, and the show just is great, and the kids know what they're doing, their lines, they know where to stand and how to act for their character, and it all comes together, and it's an awesome feeling just helping those kids get there.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Beach is way better.
Salt water doesn't do good.
No, what's good,
What do you have
bro?
planned for this weekend?
So how'd the test go?
I think I aced it.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. Yeah, it was like the easiest one this whole semester.
Yeah, I think I'm also doing really well in my other classes. So. How are you guys doing?
I'm pretty. Oh, hi.
Hey.
How'd you guys do on the test?
I think I did pretty well.
How'd you do?
I don't want to talk about it.
It's fine. We okay.
Yeah, it's just us.
I failed.
That's fine.
Oh,
It doesn't really matter that much.
yeah, you can come over and study for the next one.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's just my mom's gonna kill me.
How is your mom doing, by the way?
She starts chemo on Thursday.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh. Weird. What is this?
Did you say this? I don't know. I didn't mean it. I was just upset.
All the time that we've spent supporting you and being by your side when you were struggling, and you just would throw our names out like that?
I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
What did you mean?
I don't know.
ever starting to have its day, then it falls apart like it's almost good and it's almost right, but I miss the mark and I lose the fight. So why do I try to keep my head held high? Hearts open wide, heart full clear eyes. If I die, damage is done, so why even try?
So, we decided that we think you deserve this.
Yeah, like maybe if you, I don't know, prayed or read the scriptures more, you might not have had this coming for you, but I think it was your own fault.
Yeah, maybe you should try a Bible plan. I know some good ones on sin.
Yeah, God is clearly punishing you.
People say some things never change. The way they are is the way they stay. Wouldn't I like you disagree, but I'm dancing with the fire. The fire keeps burning. So why do I even try to keep my head held high? Open wide, open eyes. If I die, damage is done, so why even try? Hey, so I've been thinking. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know why you said what you did, but it really hurt. I'm trying to help you. I really am, but if you don't accept it, that's not my fault. I'm sick of you always manipulating me and playing the victim and trying to make me feel sorry for you. It's not working. I want to be done. Everyone's scared every night now. I'm just afraid that it's permanent, that I'm permanently broken, permanently broken. Oh. Fragile hearts in these fragile times often break before they ever find that there's hope inside of this shadowland. It's written in the sky in stone and printed on our hands.
So why do I always measure the truth with the weight of the line?
Nothing's broken inside of me.
You the time the way I should, and I can see it if I keep my head held high. Arms open wide, heart full of clear eyes. Open wide.
Are we recording? Yep. All right. So this is.
All right, this is. You wanna say it?
Page 6.
Gives
Eat your breakfast scene.
All right. Don't be laughing. All right.
I'll speak to your father about it with.
Fun.
All right. Let's just. Ready?
Stop. Wait. We don't have. Hold on. We don't have to start a new recording. Just control yourself.
Exactly.
Then when you're ready, start.
I could just edit this out. Ready? 3.
Put it in the bloopers reel.
I feel like the bloopers are all just like laughing.
Don't
Okay,
count down because then you'll be able to get that in the recording maybe.
I know.
It
Ready?
might just be some fun time for you.
Fine. Scene.
I got it.
Forgot to do. Oh. That you started recording again. Do not delete that.
All right. So we're doing this again.
This is Act 1, page 13.
That was better.
All right. This is page 29. George and Emily scene, I guess. All right.
When she muted.
All right, it is recording. So anytime. Oh wait, you have to say the page.
This is gonna be a blooper, Lauren.
Anyways, this is recording. I'm gonna pause it. Okay, this is page 36.
I don't need to go and meet the other people in other towns. You're making me do a lot of editing here. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know where the lines went.
Page 32. Look at the camera when you're ready.
This is Sam Craig and Joe Stoddard. Page with. Okay. Okay. But George, maybe it's important for you to go and learn.
You do the line.
Yep.
Postcard album. Found it on the doorstep this morning. George Gibbs must have come over pretty cold and early.
Oh, George.
I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa tonight.
Why, George? I don't see why you have to. I'm so sorry.
All right, let's go back to but George, maybe it's
You. I do wish I could get you to go away someplace and get a rest. I think it would do you good. I declare you've got to speak to George.
all right. There we go. I mean, yes, a few edits.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine though. I can, but it's not that hard to edit out.
You and.
Well, I was just saying to Mrs. Gibbs is how it made no. Mrs. Newsom told me to tell you how. Where are we?
Do the cat calling.
Oh, dude.
Oh my goodness. All right, nice job, guys. Back to Maine. Peace.
Mason,
Jen,
welcome back.
Jen,
Took a lot, Lane. This is Gracie.
before I send
We got her Saturday.
before I send the video to you, I'm going to throw it into my own editor and cut some parts.
She's a golden doodle.
Because
Okay.
We had some redos mid scene that I'm going
I
to.
love it.
Yeah, that's fine.
They were all due to me.
Balloon.
Hanging out.
Oh, that's who else
Yes,
is
yes,
here.
but it was
Jalen
fine.
was recording with Mason.
I never stopped my recording.
And today's another pretty bad blow for him, too.
Are we doing the lines of the dead?
Yes.
Oh,
Fine.
just pretend I'm not.
No, because I know you're just like sitting there, like listening and watching me. Ah.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn my video back on. Okay. So I'm here, right? I'm going this way. So I guess.
The nails, they keep getting me.
And I'm going to walk away.
Okay. Is it?
I'm still unmuted. Do I sound far away? Because this is as far away as I can go.
Okay. Do I just go?
Yeah, just go whenever.
I'm gonna say the page name and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
This is Act 3, page 47 and 48. The monologue.
There we go.
Yay!
Yay! Wow.
This play is called Our Town. The sky is beginning to show some streaks of light over in the east there, behind our mountain. The morning star always gets wonderful bright the minute before it has to go, doesn't it? Well, I better show you how our town lies. This play is called Our Town. It was written by Thornton Wilder, produced by Work in Progress Productions, directed by Nicole Cannella. The name of this town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts state line. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. The time is just before dawn. The sky is beginning to show some streaks of light over in the east there, behind our mountain. The morning star always gets wonderful bright the minute before it has to go, doesn't it? Well, I better show you how our town lies. Up here is Main Street, and way back there, the railway station. Tracks go that way. Over there is a Congregational church. Across the street is the Presbyterian, Methodist and Unitarian. Over here, Baptist is down in the hollow by the river. Catholic church is over beyond the tracks. Here's the grocery store, and here's Mr. Morgan's drugstore. Most everybody in town manages to look into those two stores once a day. Public school's over yonder, high school's still farther over. 9:15 mornings, noon times, and 3 o'clock afternoons, the whole town can hear the yelling and screaming from those schoolyards. This is our doctor's house, Doc Gibbs. Here's the back door. There's some scenery for those who think they have to have scenery. Nice town, you know what I mean? Nobody remarkable ever come out of it, as far as we know. The earliest tombstones in the cemetery up there on the mountain say 1670, 1680. There are Grovers and Cartwrights and Gibbses and Herseys, the same names as are around here now. Well, as I said, it's about dawn. The only lights on in town are in a cottage over by the tracks where Polish's mother had just had twins, and in the Joe Crowell house where Joe Jr. is getting up so as to deliver the paper, and in the depot where Shorty Hawkins is getting ready to flag the 5:45 for Boston. And so, another day's begun. There's Doc Gibbs coming down Main Street now, coming back from that baby case, and here's his wife coming downstairs to get breakfast. Doc Gibbs died in 1930. The new hospital's named after him. Mrs. Gibbs died first, a long time ago, in fact. She went out to visit her daughter, Rebecca, who married an insurance man in Canton, Ohio, and died there, pneumonia. But her body was brought back here. She's up in the cemetery there now, in with a whole mess of Gibbsons and Herseys. She was Julia Hersey before she married Doc Gibbs. In our town, we like to know the facts about everybody. And there's Mrs. Webb coming down to get her breakfast, too. And Doc Gibbs, he got that call at 1:30 this morning. And here comes Joe Crowell Jr., delivering Mr. Webb's Centennial.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Joe.
Somebody been sick, Doc?
No, just some twins born over in Polish Town.
Do you want your paper now?
Yes, I'll take it. Anything serious going on in the world since Wednesday?
Yes, sir. My school teacher, Miss Foster, is getting married to a man in Concord.
I declare. How do you boys feel about that?
Well, of course it's none of my business, but I think if she is a teacher, she should stay a teacher.
How's your knee, Joe?
Fine, Doc. I never think about it at all. Only like you said, it always tells me when it's gonna rain.
What's it telling you today? Gonna rain?
No, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
You ever make a mistake?
No, sir.
I want to tell you something about that boy Joe Crowell there. Joe was awful bright. Graduated from high school here, head of his class. So he got a scholarship to Massachusetts Tech. Graduated head of his class there, too. It was all wrote up in the Boston paper at the time. Going to be a great engineer, Joe was. The war broke out. He died in France. All that education for nothing.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Howie.
Somebody sick?
No, just a pair of twins over at Miss Groslowski's.
Twins, huh? This town's getting bigger every year.
Gonna rain, Howie.
Nah. Fine day. That'll burn through.
Good morning, Howie.
Morning, Mrs. Gibbs.
Seems like you're late today.
Something went wrong with the separator. Don't know what it was.
Children, time to get up.
Come on, Bessie.
George, Rebecca. Everything all right, Frank?
Yes, I declare.
Bacon will be ready in a minute. Sit down and drink your coffee. You can catch a couple hours sleep this morning, can't you?
Miss Wentworth's coming at 11. Guess I know what's about, too. Her stomach ain't what it ought to be.
All told, you won't get more than 3 hours of sleep, Frank Gibbs. I do not know what's to become of you. I do wish I could get you to go away someplace and get a rest. I think it would do you good. Emily, time to get up. Wally, 7 o'clock. I declare, you've got to speak to George. Seems like something's come over him lately. He's no help to me at all. I can't even get him to help me cut some wood.
Is he sassy to you?
No, he just whines, and all he thinks about is that baseball. George, Rebecca, you'll be late for school. George!
George, look sharp.
Children, now I won't have it. Breakfast is just as good as any other meal. I won't have you gobbling it like wolves. It'll stunt your growth, and that's a fact. Put away your book, Wally.
Ma, by 10 o'clock I gotta know all about Canada.
You know the rules as well as I do. No books at the table. As for me, I'd rather have my children healthy than bright.
Both, Mama. You know I am. I'm the brightest girl in school for my age. I have a wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast.
I'll speak to your father about it when he's rested. Seems to me 25 cents a week's enough for a boy your age. I declare, I don't know how you spend it all.
Oh, Ma, I got a lot of things to buy.
Strawberry phosphates. That's what you spend it on.
I don't see how Rebecca comes to so much money. She has like more than $1.
I've been saving it up gradual.
Well, dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some every now and then.
Mama, do you know what I love most in the world? Do you?
Yes, dear?
Money.
Eat your breakfast.
Oh, that's the bell. I'm out to school.
I forgot my
Bye.
books. Tell Miss Foster I sent her my best congratulations. Can you remember
Yes,
that?
Mom. Yes, Mom.
You look real nice, Rebecca. Pick up your feet.
Fine.
Good morning, Myrtle. How's your cold?
Well, I still get that tickling feeling in my throat. I told Charles I didn't know I was to go to choir practice tonight.
Have you tried singing over your voice?
Yes, but somehow I can't do that and stay on key. While I'm resting myself, I thought I'd string some of these beans.
Here, let me help you. Beans have been good this year.
I've decided to put up 40 quarts if it kills me. The children say they hate them, but I know they're able to eat them all winter.
Now, Myrtle, I've got to tell you something, because if I don't tell someone, I'll burst.
Julia Gibbs!
Here, give me some more of those beans. Myrtle, did one of those second-hand furniture men from Boston come to see you last Friday?
No.
Well, he called on me. First, I thought he was a patient wanting to see Dr. Gibbs. And he wormed his way into my parlor, and Myrtle Webb, he offered me $350 for Grandmother Wentworth's highboy as I'm sitting here.
Julia Gibbs!
He did that old thing. Why, it was so big I didn't know where to put it, and I almost gave it to Cousin Hester Wilcox.
Well, you're going to take it, aren't you?
I don't know.
Don't know? $350! What's come over you?
Well, if I could get the doctor to take the money and go away someplace, away, on a real trip, I'd take it like that. You know, Myrtle, it's been the dream of my life to see Paris, France. Oh, I know it sounds crazy, I suppose, but for years I've been promising myself that if we ever had the chance.
How do you feel about it?
Oh, well, I did beat about the bush a bit and said if I got a legacy, that's the way I put it, I'd make him take me somewhere.
What did he say?
Oh, you know how he is. I haven't heard a serious word out of him since the day I've known him. No, he says, it might make him discontented with Grover's Corners to go traipsing about Europe. Better let well enough alone, he says. Every 2 years, he makes a trip to the battlefields of the Civil War, and that's enough for anyone, he says.
Well, Mr. Webb just admires the way Dr. Gibbs knows everything about the Civil War. Mr. Webb's a good mind to give up Napoleon and move over to the Civil War. Only Dr. Gibbs, being the greatest expert in the country, just makes him despair.
Dr. Gibbs is never so happy when he's at Antietam or Gettysburg. The times I have walked over those hills, Myrtle, stopping at every bush and pacing it out like we were going to buy it.
Well, if that second-hand man's really serious about buying it, Julia, you sell it. And then you get to see Paris, all right. Just keep dropping hints from time to time. That's how I got to see Atlantic Ocean, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry I mentioned it. Only, seems to me that once in your life, before you die, you ought to see a country where they don't talk in English and they don't even want it.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Now we're going to skip a few hours. But first, we want a little more information about the town. Kind of a scientific account, you might say. So I've asked Professor Willard of our state university to sketch in a few details of our past year. Is Professor Willard here?
Hello.
May I introduce Professor Willard of our state university? A few brief notes, thank you, Professor. Unfortunately, our time is limited.
Okay then, Grover's Corners. Let me see. Grover's Corners lies on the old Pleistocene granite of Appalachian Range. I may say it's some of the oldest land in the world. We're very proud. We're very proud indeed of that. Some slightly interesting fossils have been found. I may say unique fossils, 2 miles out of town in Silas Peckham's cow pasture. At the museum and our university at any time, that is any reasonable time. Shall I read some of Professor Gruber's notes on the meteorological situation, mean precipitation, etc.?
Afraid we don't have time for that, Professor. We might have a few words on the history of man here.
Yes, indeed. Anthropological data, early and Meridian stock, Cotahatchee tribes. No evidence before the 10th century of this era, now entirely disappeared. Possible traces in 3 families. Migration toward the end of the 17th century of English blue-eyed stock, for the most part.
And the population, Professor?
Oh, well, within the town limits is 2,604.
Just a moment, Professor.
Yes, indeed. The population at the moment is 2,062. The postal district brings in 507 more, making a total of 3,149. Mortality and birth rates, constant. By McPherson's gauge, 6.032.
Thank you very much, Professor. We're all very much obliged to you, I'm sure.
Not at all, sir. Not
this
at
way,
all.
Professor. And thank you again. Now the political and social report. Editor Webb. Oh, Mr. Webb?
Be here in a minute. He just cut his hand while he was eating an apple.
Thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Charles, everybody's waiting.
Mr. Webb is publisher and editor of the Grover's Corner Sentinel. That's our local paper, you know.
Well, I don't have to tell you that we're run here by a board of selectmen. All males vote at the age of 21, women vote indirect. We're lower middle class, some sprinkling of professional men, 10% illiterate laborers. Politically, we're 86% Republicans, 6% Democrats, 4% socialists, rest indifferent. Religiously, we're 85% Protestants, 12% Catholics, rest indifferent.
Have you any comments, Mr. Webb?
Very ordinary town, if you ask me. A little better behaved than most. Probably a lot duller. But our young people seem to like it well enough. 9% of them graduating from high school settle down right here to live, even when they've been away to college.
Now, is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask Editor Webb anything about the town?
What's that? Well, is there much drinking in Grover's Corners? Well, ma'am, I wouldn't know what you'd call much. Saturday nights, the farmhands meet down in Ellery Greenhouse stable and holler some. We got 1 or 2 town drunks, but they're always having mimosas every time an evangelist comes to town. No, ma'am, I'd like to say liquor ain't a regular thing in the home here, except in the medicine chest. Right, good for a snake bite, always was. Is there no one in town aware of? Is there no one in town aware of social injustice and industrial inequality? Oh, yes, everyone is something terrible. Seems like they spend most of the time talking about who's rich and who's poor. Why don't they do something about it? Well, I don't know. I guess we're all hunting like everybody else for a way for the diligent and sensible can rise to the top, and 44 and lazy and quarrelsome can sink to the bottom. But it ain't easy to find. Meanwhile, we do all we can to help those that can't help themselves, and those that can help themselves we leave alone. Are there any other questions? Is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corners? Well, ma'am, there ain't much. Not in the sense you mean. Come to think of it, there are some girls who play piano at high school commencement. They ain't happy about it. No, ma'am, there isn't much culture. But maybe this is the place to tell you that we're the kind of... We've got a lot of pleasures around here. We look at the sun come up over the mountain in the morning, and we notice a good deal about the birds. We pay a lot of attention to them. And we watch the change of the seasons. Yes, everybody knows about those. But those other things, you're right, ma'am. There ain't much. Robinson Crusoe in the Bible, and Handel's Largo, we all know, and Whistler's Mother, those are just about as far as we go.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Now we'll go back to town. It's early afternoon. All 2,642 have had their dinners, and all the dishes have been washed. There's an early afternoon calm in our town, a buzzing and humming from the school buildings, only a few buggies on Main Street, the horses dozing at the hitching post, remembering what it's like. Doc Gibbs is in his office, tapping people and making them say ah. Mr. Webb's cutting his lawn. 1 man in 10 thinks it's a privilege to push his own lawnmower.
Hello, Emily.
Hello.
You made a fine speech in class.
Well, I was really ready to make a speech about the Monroe Doctrine, but at the last minute, Miss Corcoran made me talk about the Louisiana Purchase instead. I worked an awful long time on both of them.
Gee, it's funny, Emily. From my window up there, I can just see your head nights when you're working on your homework in your room.
Why, can you?
You really do stick to it, Emily. I don't see how you can sit still for that long. I guess you like school.
Well, I always feel it's something you have to go through.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, really. It passes the time.
Yeah. Emily, what do you think? We kind of work a telegraph from your window to ours, and once in a while you could give me a hint of sorts on one of those algebra problems. Not the answers, Emily, of course not. But maybe a little hint?
Oh, well, I think hints are allowed. So, if you get stuck, George, you whistle to me and I'll give you some hints.
Emily, you're just naturally bright, I guess.
I figure it's just the way a person's born.
Yeah, but you see, I want to be a farmer, and my Uncle Luke says whenever I'm ready I can come over and work on his farm, and if I'm any good I can just gradually have it.
You mean the house and everything?
Yeah. Well, thanks. I'd better be getting out to the baseball field. Thanks for the talk, Emily. Good afternoon, Mrs. Webb.
Good afternoon, George.
So long, Emily.
So long, George. Emily, come and help me string these beans for winter. George Gibbs let himself have a real conversation, didn't he? Why, he's growing up. How old would he be?
I don't know.
Let's see. Must be almost 16.
Mama, I made a speech in class today, and it was very good.
You must recite it for your father at supper. What was it about?
Louisiana Purchase. It was like silk off a spool. I'm going to make speeches all my life, Mama. Are these big enough?
Try and get them a little bigger if you can.
Mama, will you answer me a question? Serious?
Seriously, dear.
Seriously, will you?
Yes, I will.
Mama, am I good looking?
Yes, of course you are. Both my children have got good features. I'd be ashamed if they hadn't.
Mama, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, am I pretty?
I've already told yes. That's enough of that. You have a nice, young, pretty face. I've never heard of such foolishness.
Oh, Mama, you never tell us the truth about anything.
I am telling you the truth.
Mama, were you pretty?
Yes, I was, if I do say it. Prettiest girl in town next to Mamie Cartwright.
But Mama, you gotta say something about me. Am I pretty enough to get people interested in me?
Emily, you make me Now stop it. You're pretty enough for all normal purposes. Come along now. Bring that bowl with you.
Well, Mama, you're no help at all.
I think this is a good time to tell you that the Cartwright interests have just begun building a new bank in Grover's Corners, as it were not for the marble, sorry to say. And I've asked a friend of mine what they should put in the cornerstone for people to dig up 1,000 years from now. We're putting in a copy of the New York Times and a copy of the Mr. Webb Sentinel. We're kind of interested in this because some scientific fellows have found a way of painting all the treated matter with glue. That'll keep it 1,000, 2,000 years. We're putting in a Bible and the Constitution of the United States and a copy of William Shakespeare's play. What do you say, folks? What do you think? I'm going to have a copy of this play put in the cornerstone, and people 1,000 years from now will know a few simple facts about us. One of the Treaty of Versailles and Lunenburg flood. So, people 1,000 years from now, this is the way we were in the provinces north of New York at the beginning of our 20th century. This is the way we were in our growing up, in our marrying, in our living, and our dying.
Now look here, everybody. Music came into the world to give pleasure. Softer. Softer. Get it out of your heads that music is only good when it's loud. You leave loudness to the Methodists. You couldn't beat them even if you wanted to. Now again. Altos.
Okay. Emily.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't work at all. The moonlight is so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which? Why, yes, George. That's the easiest of them all.
I don't see it, Emily. Emily, can you give me a hint?
I'll tell you one thing. The answer is in yards.
In yards? How do you mean?
In square yards.
Oh, in square yards?
Yes, George. Don't you see?
Yeah.
In square yards of wallpaper, George.
Wallpaper? Oh, I see. Thanks a lot, Em.
You're welcome. My, isn't the moonlight terrible? And choir practice going on? I think if you hold your breath, you could hear the train all the way to Cook. Hear it?
What do you know?
Well, I guess I better go back and try to work.
Good night, Emily. Thanks.
Good night, George.
Before I forget it, how many of you will be able to come in Tuesday afternoon and sing at Fred Hersey's wedding? Show of hands. That'll be nice. That'll be right nice. Now we'll do the same music we did for Jane Trowbridge's last month. Now we'll do Art Thou Weary, Art Thou Languid, a question, ladies and gentlemen. Make it talk. Ready?
George, can you come down a minute?
Yes, Pop.
Make yourself comfortable, George. I'll only keep you a minute. George, how old are you?
I'm 16 or 17.
And what do you want to do after school's over?
Why, you know, Pa, I want to be a farmer on Uncle Luke's farm.
You'll be willing, will you, to get up early and milk and people's dog and be able to hold me all day?
Yes, of course. Pa, what do you mean?
Well, George, while I was in my office today, I heard a funny sound. And what do you think it was? It was your mother chopping wood. There you see your mother getting up early, cooking meals all day long, washing and ironing, and still she has to go and back there and chop wood. I suppose she got tired of asking. She just gave up and decided it was easier to do herself. Your meals, all the clothes she keeps nice for you. We run off and play baseball. Like she's some hired girl around the house that we don't like. Well, I knew all I had to do was call your attention to it. Here's a handkerchief. George, I've decided to raise your spending money 20% to you. Not, of course, for shopping with your mother, because that's a present you give her, but because you're getting older, and I imagine there are lots of things she's going to do with it.
Thanks, Pop.
Let's see. Tomorrow's your payday. You can count on it. And Rebecca will probably feel like she ought to have someone too. Wonder what could have happened to you, Mother. Our practice was never as late as this one.
It's only 8:30, Pa.
I don't know why she's in that old choir. She hasn't any more voice than an old crow, traipsing around the streets at this hour of night. Just about time you retired, don't you think?
Yes, Pa.
Good night, Martha. Good night, Mrs. Foster.
I'll tell Mr. Webb. I know he'll want to put it in the paper.
My, it's late.
Good night, Irma.
Real nice choir practice tonight, wasn't it? Myrtle Webb, look at that moon, will ya? Potato weather for sure.
Naturally, I didn't want to say a word in front of those others, now that we're alone. Really, it's the worst scandal there ever was in this town.
What?
Simon Stimson.
Now, Luella.
But, Julia, to have the organist of the church drink and drunk year after year, you know he was drunk tonight.
Now, Luella, we all know about Mr. Stimson, and we all know about the troubles he's been through. And Dr. Ferguson knows too, and if Dr. Ferguson keeps him there on his job, the only thing the rest of us can do is just not to notice it.
Not to notice it? But it's getting worse.
No, it isn't, Luella. It's getting better. I've been in that choir twice as long as you have. It doesn't happen near so often. My, I hate to go to bed on a night like this. I better hurry. Those children will be sitting up till all hours. Good night, ladies.
Can you get home safe, Luella?
Oh, it's as bright as day. I see Mr. Soames scowling through the window now. I think we better dance the way the men folk carry on.
Well, we had a real nice time.
You're late enough.
Why, Frank, it ain't any later than usual.
And you stopping at the corner to gossip with a law hen.
Now, Frank, don't be grouchy. Come out and smell the heliotrope in the moonlight. What did you do all the time I was away?
Oh, I read, as usual. What were the girls gossiping about tonight?
Believe me, Frank, there was something to gossip about.
Simon Stimson far gone, was he?
Worst I've ever seen him. How will that end, Frank? Dr. Ferguson can't just forgive him forever.
I guess I know more about Simon Stimson's affairs than anybody in this town. Some people ain't made for small-town life. I don't know how that'll end, but there's nothing we can do about it but just leave it alone. Come, get in.
No, not yet. Frank, I'm worried about you.
What are you worried about?
I think it's my duty to plans for you to get a real rest and change. And if I get that legacy, well, I'm going to insist on it.
Now, Julia, there's no sense in going over that again.
Frank, you're just being unreasonable.
Come on, Julia. It's getting late. First thing you know, you catch a cold. I gave George a piece of my mind tonight, and I reckon you'll have your wood chopped for a while anyway. No, start getting upstairs.
Oh dear. There's always so many things to pick up, seems like. You know, Frank, Mrs. Fairchild always locks her front door at night. All those people in that part of town do.
They're getting cityfied, that's the trouble with them. They haven't got nothing fit to burgle, and everybody knows it.
Get out, Rebecca. There's only room for one at this window. You're always spoiled.
Well, let me look just a minute.
Use your own window.
I did, but there's no moon there. George, do you know what I think, do you? I think the moon's getting nearer and nearer, and there'll be a big explosion.
Rebecca, you don't know anything. If the moon were getting nearer, the people that sat up all night would report it, and it'd be all in the newspapers.
George, is the moon shining on South America, Canada, and half the whole world?
Well, probably is.
Good evening, Bill.
Evening, Mr. Webb.
Quite a mood.
Yep.
All quiet tonight?
Simon Stimson's rolling around a little. Just saw his wife moving out to hunt for him, so I looked the other way. There he is now. I don't know how that's gonna end, Mr. Webb.
You've seen a peck of trouble. One thing after another. Oh, Bill, if you see my boy smoking cigarettes, just keep my talk, will you? He thinks a lot of you.
I don't think he smokes no cigarettes, Mr. Webb. At least no more than 2 or 3 a year.
Hope not. Well, good night, Bill.
Good night, Mr. Webb.
Sit up there. Is that you, Myrtle?
No, it's me, Papa.
Why aren't you in bed?
I don't know. I just can't sleep yet. The moonlight's so wonderful. And the smell of Miss Gibbs' heliotrope? Can you smell it?
Yes. Haven't any troubles on your mind, have you, Emily?
Trouble, Papa? No.
Well, enjoy yourself. But don't let your mother catch you. Good night, Emily.
Good night, Papa.
I never told you about that letter Jane Crawford got from her minister when she was sick. He wrote Jane a letter, and on the envelope, the address was like this. It said, Jane Crawford, The Cron Farm, Grover's Corners, Sutton County, New Hampshire, United States of America.
Well, what's so funny about that?
But listen, it's not finished. The United States of America, continent of North America, Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the solar system, the universe, the mind of God. That's what it said on the envelope.
What do you know?
And the postman brought it just the same.
What do you know?
And that's the end of the first act, friends. Take a break, have a refreshment, and we'll see you in the next act. Have gone by. Yet the sun's come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountains a little bit more, and the rains have brought down some of the dirt. Some babies that weren't even born before have begun talking regular sentences already, and a number of people who thought they were right young and spry notice they can't bound up a flight of stairs like they used to, without their heart fluttering a little. All that can happen in 1,000 days. Nature's been pushing and contriving in other ways, too. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Yes, the mountain got bit away a few fractions of an inch. Millions of gallons of water went by the mill, and here in the new home is set up under a roof. Almost everybody in the world gets married, you know what I mean? In our town there aren't hardly any exceptions. Most everybody in the world climbs into their graves married. The first act was called The Daily Life. This act is called Love and Marriage. There's another act coming after this. I reckon you can guess what that's about. So, it's 3 years later, 1904, July 7th, just after high school commencement. That's the time most of our young people jump up and get married. As soon as they pass their last examination, it looks like they find themselves suddenly fit to be married. It's early morning, only this time it's been raining. It's been pouring and thundering. Mrs. Gibbs' garden and Mrs. Webb's here to ranch. All yesterday, there over on Main Street, the rain looked like curtains being blown along. May begin again any minute. There, you can hear the 5:45 for Boston. And there's Mrs. Gibbs and Mrs. Webb come down to make breakfast, just as though it were an ordinary day. I don't have to point out to the women in my audience that those ladies they see before them, both those ladies cook 3 meals a day, one of them for 20 years, the other for 40, and no summer vacation. They brought up 2 children apiece, washed, cleaned the house, and never a nervous breakdown. It's like one of those Middle West poets said, you've got to love life to have life, and you've got to have life to love life. That's what they call a vicious cycle.
Morning, Howie.
Morning, Si. Anything in the paper I don't know?
Nothing much. Except losing about the best baseball pitcher Grover's Corners ever had, George Gibbs.
I reckon he is.
He could hit and run the bases, too.
Yeah, mighty fine ball player. Whoa, Gussie. I can stop and talk if I want to.
I don't see we could give up a thing like that just to get married. Would you, Howie?
Never, can't tell, Si. Never had no talent that way. You're up early, Bill.
Seeing if there's anything I could do to prevent a flood. River's been rising all night.
Si, Crow here is all worked up about George Gibbs retiring from baseball.
Yes, sir, that's the way it goes. Back in '84, we had a player, even George Gibbs couldn't touch him. Name of Hank Todd. Went down to Maine to become a parson. Wonderful ball player. Howie, how's the weather look to you?
It ain't bad. I think maybe it'll clear up for good.
Good morning, Howie.
Morning, Mrs. Gibbs. I think it rained so heavy, it might clear up.
I certainly hope it will.
How much did you want today?
I have a house full of family. Looks to me I'll need 3 milk and 2 of cream.
My wife says to tell you, we both hope you'll be very happy, Mrs. Gibbs. We know they will.
Thanks a lot, Howie. It means a lot. Tell your wife I hope she gets there to the wedding.
Yeah, she'll be there. She'll be there if she can. Morning, Mrs. Webb.
Morning, Mr. Newsom. I know I told you 4 quarts of milk, but I hope you can spare me another.
Yes, and 2 of cream.
Will it start raining again, Mr. Newsom?
Well, I was just saying to Mrs. Gibbs is how it may lighten up. Mrs. Newsom told me to tell you as how we hope they'll both be very happy, Mrs. Webb. We know they will.
Thank you, and thank Mrs. Newsom. And we're counting on seeing you at the wedding.
Yes, Mrs. Webb. We hope to get there. Couldn't miss that. Come on, Bessie.
Well, Ma, the day has come. You're losing one of your chicks.
Frank Gibbs, don't say another word. I feel like crying every minute. Sit down and drink your coffee.
The groom's upstairs shaving himself, only there ain't an awful lot to shave, whistling and singing like he's glad to leave us. Every now and then he says "I do" to the mirror, but it don't sound convincing to me.
I declare, Frank, I don't know how he'll get along. I've arranged his clothes and seen to it he's put warm things on. Frank, they're too young. Emily won't think of such things. He'll catch his death of a cold within a week.
I was remembering my wedding morning, Julia.
Now don't start that, Frank Gibbs.
I was the scaredest young fellow in the state of New Hampshire. I thought I'd make a mistake for sure. And when I saw you coming down the aisle, I thought you were the prettiest girl I'd ever seen, but the only trouble was I'd never seen you before. There I was in the Congregational Church marrying a total stranger.
And how do you think I felt? Frank, weddings are perfectly awful things. Farces, that's what they are. Here, I've made something for you.
By Julia Hersey. French toast.
It ain't hard to make, and I had to do something.
How did you sleep last night, Julia?
Well, I heard a lot of the hours struck off.
Yes, I get a shock every time I think of George setting out to be a family man. That great gangling thing. I tell you, Julia, there's nothing so terrifying in the world as a son. The relations of a son and father is the darnest, awkwardest.
Well, mother and daughter is no picnic, let me tell you.
They'll have a lot of troubles, I suppose, but that's none of our business. Everybody has a right to their own troubles.
Yes, people are meant to go through life 2 by 2. It ain't natural to be lonesome.
Julia, do you know one of the things I was scared of when I married you?
I'll go along with you.
I was afraid we wouldn't have a conversation that more than lasts us a few weeks. I was afraid we'd run out and eat our meals in silence. That's a fact. Well, you and I have been conversing for 20 years now without any noticeable bearing spells.
Well, good weather, bad weather. There ain't much choice, but I always find something to say. Did you hear Rebecca stirring upstairs?
No, only day of the year Rebecca hasn't been managing everybody's business up there. She's hiding in her room. I got the impression she's crying.
Lord sakes, this has got to stop. Rebecca, come and get your breakfast.
Good morning, everybody. Only 5 more hours to live.
George Gibbs, where are you going?
Just stepping across the grass to see my girl.
No, George. You put on your overshoes. It's raining torrents. You don't go out in this house not being prepared.
Ma, it's just a step.
George, you'll catch your death of the cold and cough all through the service.
George, do as your mother tells you.
From tomorrow on, you can kill yourself in all weathers. But while you're in my house, you'll live wisely. Thank you very much. Maybe Mrs. Webb isn't said to callers at 7 in the morning. Here, take your cup of coffee, Bev.
Be back in a minute. Good morning, Mother Webb.
Now, George, going out of the rain. You know I can't ask you in.
Why not?
George, you know as well as I do, the groom cannot see his bride on the wedding day, not before he sees her in the church.
Oh, that's just a superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb.
Morning, George.
Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that superstition, do you?
It's a lot of common sense and superstitions, George.
Millions have followed it, George, and you don't want to be the first to fly in the face of custom.
How's Emily?
She hasn't waked up yet. I haven't heard a sound out of her.
Emily's asleep.
No wonder. We were up till all hours sewing and packing. Now I'll tell you what I'll do. Sit down here a minute with Mr. Webb and drink this cup of coffee. Now I'll go upstairs and see she won't come down and surprise you. There's some bacon, but don't be long about it.
Well, George, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, you see, on her wedding morning, a girl's head is apt to be full of clothes and one thing or another. Don't you think that's probably it?
Yes, I'd never thought of that.
Girls have to be mighty nervous on her wedding day.
I wish a fella could get married without all that marching up and down.
Every man that's ever lived has felt that way about it, George. But it hasn't been any use. It's all the women folk who build up the weddings, my boy. For all now, the women have it all their own. A man looks pretty small at a wedding, George. All those good women standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure that the knots are tied in a mighty public way.
But you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh, yes. Don't you misunderstand me, my boy. Marriage is a wonderful thing. And don't you forget that, George.
No, sir. Mr. Webb, how old were you when you got married?
Well, you see, I'd been to college and I'd taken a little time to get settled. Mrs. Webb, she wasn't much older than what Emily is. Oh, age hasn't much to do with it. Not compared with, other things.
What were you going to say, Mr. Webb?
Oh, I don't know. I want to say something. George, I was thinking the other night of some advice my father gave me when I got married. Charles, he said, Charles, start out early showing who's boss, he said. Even if it don't, just the best thing to do is give an order, even if it don't make sense. So she'll learn to obey. And he said, if anything about your wife irritates you, her conversation or anything, just get up and leave the house. That'll make it clear to her. Oh, and yes, he said, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Well, Mr. Webb, I don't think I
took the opposite of my father's advice, and I've been happy ever since. And let that be a lesson to you, George. Never take advice on personal matters. George, are you going to raise chickens in your farm?
What?
Are you going to raise chickens in your farm?
Uncle Luke's never been much interested, but I thought...
A book came into my office the other day, George, on the philo system of raising chickens. I want you to read it. I've been thinking of beginning a small one in the backyard. I'm going to purchase the incubator in the cellar.
Charles, you're talking about that old incubator again. I thought you'd be talking about things worthwhile.
Well, Myrtle, if you want to give the boy some good advice, I'll go upstairs. Go ahead and go upstairs and leave you alone with him.
George, Emily's got to come downstairs and eat her breakfast. She sends you her love, but she doesn't want to lay eyes on you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Myrtle, I guess you don't know about that older superstition.
What do you mean, Charles?
This is the caveman. No bridegroom should see his father-in-law on the day of the wedding, or near it. Now remember that.
Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Webb. Now I have to interrupt again here. You see, we want to know how this all began, this wedding. It's fun to spend a lifetime together. I'm awfully interested in how big things like that begin. You know how it is. You're 21 or 22. You make some decisions, and then you wish. You're 70. You've been a lawyer for 50 years, and that white-haired lady at your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such things like that begin? Well, George and Emily are going to show you now the conversation they had when they first knew that, as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. Before they do it, I would like you to try and remember what it was like to have been young, and particularly the days when you were first in love, when you were like a person sleepwalking. Now you didn't quite see the street you were in, and didn't quite hear everything that was said. You're a little bit crazy. Will you remember that, please? Now they'll be coming out of high school at 3 o'clock. Yep, there they are coming down Main Street now.
Can I carry your books home for you, Emily?
Why,
Thank you. It isn't far.
Excuse me a minute, Emily. Say, Bob, if I'm a little late, start practice anyways, and give her some long, high ones.
Oh, goodbye, Lizzie.
Goodbye, Lizzie. I'm awfully glad you were elected too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked me, I might as well say it right out, George. Oh, goodbye, Miss Corcoran.
Goodbye, Miss Corcoran. What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you in the last year. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I've got to just tell the truth and shame the devil.
A change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot and I used to watch you as you did everything because we've been friends for so long. And then you started spending all your time at baseball and you never stopped to speak to anyone anymore. Not even your own family you didn't. And George, it's a fact. You've gotten awful conceited and stuck up, and all the girls say so. They might not say it to your face, but that's what they're saying behind your back. And I've got to agree with them at least a little. And now, sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I can't be sorry I said it.
I'm glad you said it, Emily. I never thought such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fellow not to have false creep into his character.
Well, I always expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
Oh, I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is, and as far as I can see, your father is too. So there's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be too.
Well, I feel it's the other way around, that men aren't naturally good, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. It's not easy for a girl to be as perfect as a man, because we girls are more nervous. Now, I'm sorry I said all that about you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily.
Now I can see it's not true at all, and I suddenly feel it isn't important anyway.
Emily, would you like an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Thank you. I would.
Hello, George. Hello, Emily. What can I get you? Why, Emily Webb, what have you been crying about?
She got an awful scare, Mr. Morgan. She almost got run over by that hardware store wagon. Everyone says Tom Huckins drives like a crazy man.
Well, now, you take a drink of water, Emily. You look all shook up, I'll tell you. You've got to look both ways before you cross Main Street these days. It gets worse every year. What do you have?
I'll have a strawberry phosphate. Thank you, Mr. Morse.
No, Emily, have an ice cream soda with me. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Mr. Morgan.
2 ice cream sodas, yes, sir, yes, sir. There are 125 horses in Grover's Corner system, and I'm talking to you. State inspector was in here yesterday, and now they're bringing in these automobiles. The best thing to do is just stay home. I can remember when a dog could go to sleep all day in the middle of Main Street, and nothing comes along to disturb him. There they are. Enjoy them.
They're so expensive.
No, don't you think of that. We're celebrating our election. And then do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No.
I'm celebrating because I got a friend that tells me all the things that ought to be told to me.
Oh, George, please don't think of that. I don't know why I said it. It's not true. You're...
Oh, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me like you did. But you see, I'm going to change so quick, you bet I'm going to change. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
Emily, if I go away to State Agriculture College next year, will you write me a letter once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George. It certainly seems like being away 3 years, you'd sort of get out of touch with things. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of all New Hampshire, but I think it's a very nice town.
The day wouldn't come when I wouldn't want to know everything that's happening here. I know that's true, Emily.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go up to agriculture school to be a good farmer.
Why, George?
Yeah, and some of them say it's even a waste of time. You get all those things from the government pamphlets that they send out. And Uncle Luke's getting old. He's about ready for me to take over the farm tomorrow if I could.
My!
And like you said, being gone all that time in other places and meeting new people. Gosh, if anything like that can happen, I don't want to go away. I guess new people aren't any better than old ones. I bet they almost never are. Emily, I feel that you're as good of a friend as I've got. I don't need to go and meet the other people in other towns.
But George, maybe it's very important for you to go and learn all about cattle judging and soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
Why, George, I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me about that fault in my character. What you said was true, but there was one thing wrong with that. And that was when you said for a year I wasn't noticing people. And you, for instance, like, you said you were watching me when I did everything. I was doing the same about you all the time. Why, sure, I always thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always made sure where you were sitting on the bleachers and who you were with, and for 3 days now I've been trying to walk home with you, but something's always gotten in the way. Yesterday I was standing over against the wall waiting for you, and you walked home with Miss Corcoran.
George, life's awful funny. How could I have known that? Why, I thought...
Listen, Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to agriculture school. I think that once you find a person that you're very fond of, a person who's fond of you too, and likes you enough to be interested in your character, well, I think that's just important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important too.
Emily?
Yes, George?
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be, could you be?
I am now. I always have been.
So, I guess this is an important talk we've been having.
Yes.
Wait just a minute and I'll walk you home. Mr. Morgan, I have to go home and get the money to pay you for this. It will only take me a minute.
What's that? George Gibbs, do you mean to tell me?
Yes, but I had reasons, Mr. Morgan. Look, here's my gold watch to keep until I get back with the money.
No. Keep your watch. I'll trust you.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
I'll trust you 10 years, George. Not a day over. You got all over your shock, Emily?
Yes, Mr. Morgan. It was nothing.
I'm ready.
Well, now we're ready to get on with the wedding. There are a lot of things to be said about a wedding. There are a lot of thoughts that go on during a wedding. We can't get them all into one wedding, naturally, and especially not one in Brothers Corner, where they're awfully plain and short. In this wedding, I play the minister. That gives me the right to say a few more things about it. For a while now, the play gets pretty serious. You see, some churches say marriage is a sacrament. I don't quite know what that means, but I can guess. Like Mrs. Gibbs said a few minutes ago, people were made to live 2 by 2. This is a good wedding, but people are so put together that even at a good wedding, there's a lot of confusion way down deep in people's minds. And we thought that ought to be in our play too. The real hero of the scene isn't on stage at all, and you know who that is. It's like what one of those European fellows said. Every child born into the world is nature's attempt to make a perfect human being. Well, we've seen nature pushing and driving for some time now. We all know that nature's interested in quantity, but I think she's interested in quality too. That's why I'm in the ministry. And don't forget all the other witnesses at this wedding. The ancestors. Millions of them. Most of them set out to live 2 by 2 also. Millions of them. Well, that's all my sermon. Wasn't very long anyway.
I don't know why Arthur should be crying. I suppose there's something to cry about. He brought me a breakfast this morning. There was Emily, eating her breakfast. She's done for 17 years. Now she's going off to eat it in someone else's house. I suppose that's it. And Emily, she suddenly said, I can't eat another mouthful. She put her head down too. She cried. I've got to say, there's something downright cruel about sending our girls into marriage this way. I hope some of her girlfriends have told her a thing or two. It's cruel, I know. I couldn't bring myself to say anything. I went into it blind as a bat myself. The whole world's wrong. That's what's the matter. Here they come. George, what's the matter?
Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everyone pushing me so?
Why, George, you wanted it.
No, Ma, listen to me.
No, George, no. You're a man now.
Listen, Ma, for the last time I ask you, all I want to do is be a fella.
George, if anyone should hear you, now stop. I'm ashamed of you.
What? Where's Emily?
Oh, George, you gave me such a turn.
Cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married.
Let me catch my breath a minute.
Now, Ma, you save Thursday nights. Emily and I are coming over for dinner every Thursday night. You'll see. Ma, what are you crying for? Come on, we've got to get ready for this.
I've never felt so alone in my whole life. And George over there looking so... I hate him. I wish I were dead. Papa! Papa!
Emily, now don't get upset.
But Papa, I don't want to get married.
Shh. Everything's all right.
Why can't I just stay for a while just as I am? Let's go away.
No, Emily. Now stop and think a minute.
Don't you remember? All the time you used to say, all the time that I was your girl. Now, there must be lots of places we could go. I'll work for you. I could keep house.
You mustn't think of such things. You're just nervous, Emily. George, will you come here a minute? Why, you're marrying the best fine fellow in the world. George is a fine fellow.
But Papa...
George, I'm giving you my daughter. You think you can take care of her?
Mr. Webb, I want to try. Emily, I'm going to do my best. I love you, Emily. I need you.
Well, if you love me, help me. All I want is someone to love me.
I will, Emily. Emily, I'll try.
And I mean forever. Do you hear? Forever and ever.
Neither are waiting for us. All right, come quickly.
Do you, George, take this woman, Emily, to be your wedded wife, to have...
Perfectly lovely wedding. Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a good wedding, don't you? Doesn't she make a lovely bride?
I do.
Do you, Emily, take this man, George, to be your wedded husband?
Don't know when I've seen such a lovely wedding, but I always cry. Don't know what it is, but I always cry. I just like to see young people happy. Don't you? Oh, I think it's lovely.
I do.
I've married over 200 couples in my day. Do I believe in it? I don't know. Millions of them. The cottage, the go-kart, the Sunday afternoon drives in Ford, first rheumatism, the grandchildren, second rheumatism, deathbed, the reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times. It's interesting. Well, let's have wedding march.
Aren't they a lovely couple? Oh, I've never been to such a nice wedding. And I'm sure they'll be happy. I always say, happiness, that's the great thing. The important thing is to be happy. And that's all the second act, folks. 10 minutes intermission, and we'll get on to the next.
No one to walk with, no one to talk with, no one to call my man. Heartsick and lonesome, all by my own son, sitting on a rubbish can.
This time 9 years have gone by, friends. Summer, 1913. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners. Horses are getting rarer. Farmers coming into town in Fords. Everybody locks their house doors now at night. Ain't been any burglars in town yet, but everybody's heard about 'em. You'd be surprised, though, on the whole. Things don't change much around here. This is certainly an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop, a windy hilltop. Lots of sky, lots of clouds, often lots of sun and moon and stars. You come up here on a fine afternoon and you can see a range on range of hills. Awful blue they are, up there by Lake Sunapee and Lake Winnipesaukee. And way up, if you got a glass, you can see the White Mountains and Mount Washington, where North Conway and Conway is. And of course our favorite mountain, Mount Monadnock's right here. And all these towns that lie around it. Jaffrey and East Jaffrey and Peterborough and Dublin. And there, Quite a ways down is Grover's Corners. Yes, beautiful spot up here. Mountain laurel and lilacs. I often wonder why people like to be buried in Woodlawn and Brooklyn, where they might pass the same time up here in New Hampshire. Over there are the old stones, 1670, 1680. Strong-minded people that come a long way to be independent. Some are people who walk around here laughing at funny words on tombstones. They don't do any harm, and genealogists come up from Boston, get paid by city people for looking up their ancestors. They want to make sure they're daughters of the American Revolution and of the Mayflower. I guess that don't do any harm either. Wherever you come near the human race, there's layers and layers of nonsense. Over there are some Civil War veterans, iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys had a notion that the Union ought to be kept together, though they'd never see more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they knew was that the name, the United States of America, United States of America. And they went and died about it. This here is the new part of the cemetery. Here's your friend Mrs. Gibbs, and let me see here. Here's Mr. Stimson, organist of the Congregational Church, and Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding so, you remember. Oh, and a lot of others. And Editor Webb's boy Wallace, whose appendix burst while he was on a Boy Scout trip to Crawford Notch. Yes, an awful lot of sorrow has sort of quieted down up here. People just wild with grief have brought their relatives up to this hill. We all know how it is. And then time and sunny days, and rainy days, and snow. We're all glad they're in a beautiful place. And we're coming up here ourselves when we know our fit's over. Now there are some things we all know, but we don't take 'em out and look at 'em very often. We all know that something is eternal, and it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and it ain't earth, and it ain't even the stars. Everybody knows in their bones that something is eternal, and that something has to do with human beings. All the greatest people ever lived have been telling us that for 5,000 years, and yet you'd be surprised how people are always losing hold of it. There's something way down deep that's eternal about every human being. You know as well as I do that the dead don't stay interested in us living people for very long. Gradually, they lose hold of the earth, and the ambitions they had, and the pleasures they had, and the things they suffered, and the people they loved. They get weaned away from the earth. That's the way I put it. Weaned away. And they stay here while the earth part of them burns away, burns out, and all that time they slowly get indifferent to what's going on in Grover's Corners. They're waiting. They're waiting for something that they feel is coming. Something important and great. Aren't they waiting for the eternal part in them to come out clear? Some of the things they're going to say maybe will hurt your feelings, but that's the way it is. Mother and daughter, husband and wife, enemy and enemy, money and miser, all those terribly important things kind of grow pale around here. And what's left when memory's gone and your identity? Well, there are some living people. There's Joe Stoddard, our undertaker, supervising a new-made grave. And here comes the Grover's Corners boy that left town to go out west.
Good afternoon, Joe Stoddard.
Good afternoon. Let me see now. Do I know you?
I'm Sam Craig.
Gracious sakes alive, of all people. I should have known you'd be back for the funeral. You've been away a long time, Sam.
Yes, been away over 12 years. I'm in business out in Buffalo now, Joe. But I was in the East when I got news of my cousin's death, so I thought I'd combine things a little and come and see the old home. You look well.
Yes. Can't complain. Very sad our journey today, Samuel.
Yes.
Yes. I always say I hate to supervise when a young person is taken. I'll be here in a few minutes. My son is supervising at home because I had to come up here early.
Is that old Farmer McCarty's stone? I used to do chores for him after school.
Yes, we brought Farmer McCarty here a number of years ago now.
And is that my Aunt Julia's grave? I'd forgotten that she'd... Of course.
Yes, Doc Gibbs lost his wife 2-3 years ago, about this time. And today's another pretty bad blow for him, too.
That's my sister Carrie's boy, Sam Craig.
I'm always uncomfortable when they're around.
Do they choose their own verses much, Joe?
No, not usual. Mostly the bereaved pick a verse.
Doesn't sound like Aunt Julia. There aren't many of those Hershey sisters left now. Let me see. Where are they? I wanted to look at my fathers and mothers.
Over there with the Craigs, Avenue F.
He was an organist of the church, wasn't he? Drank a lot, we used to say.
Nobody was supposed to know about it. He'd seen a peck of trouble. Took his own life, you know.
Oh, did he?
Hung himself in the attic. They tried to hush it out, but of course it got around. He chose his own epitaph. You can see it there. It ain't a verse exactly.
It's just some music notes. What's it say?
Oh, I wouldn't know. It was wrote up in the Boston papers at the time.
Joe, what did she die of?
Who?
My cousin.
Oh, didn't you know? Had some trouble bringing a baby into the world. 'Twas her second, though. There's a little boy about 4 years old.
The grave's gonna be over there?
Yes, there ain't much more room over here among the Gibbses, so they're opening up a whole new Gibbs section over by Avenue B. You'll excuse me now. I see they're coming.
Who is it, Julia?
My daughter-in-law, Emily Webb.
Well, I declare, the road up here must have been awful muddy. What did she die of, Julia?
In childbirth.
Childbirth. I'd forgotten all about that. My, wasn't life awful and wonderful?
Wonderful, was it?
Simon, now remember.
I remember Emily's wedding. Wasn't it a lovely wedding? And I remember her reading the class poem at graduation exercises. Emily Webb was one of the brightest girls that ever graduated from high school. I heard Principal Wilkins say so time after time. And I called on them at their new farm just before I died. Perfectly beautiful farm. It's on the same road we lived on.
Yep. Right smart farm.
I always liked that hymn. I was hoping they'd sing a hymn.
Hello. Hello, Emily.
Hello, Miss Gibbs.
Hello, Mother Gibbs.
Emily.
Hello. It's raining.
Yes. They'll be gone soon, dear. Just rest yourself.
Seems thousands and thousands of years since Papa remembered that was my hymn. Oh, I wish I'd been here a long time. I don't like being new here. How do you do, Mr. Stinson?
How do you do, Emily?
Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm into just the best place we ever saw. We thought of you all the time. We wanted to show you the new barn and a great long cement drinking fountain for the stock. We bought that out of the money you left us.
I did?
Mother Gibbs, the legacy you left us. Why, it was over $350.
Yes, Emily.
Well, there's a patent device on the drinking fountain so that it never overflows, Mother Gibbs, and it never sinks below a certain mark they have there. It's fine. It won't be the same to George without me, but it's a lovely farm. A lot of people don't understand, do they?
No, dear. Not very much.
They're sort of put up in little boxes, aren't they? I feel as though I knew them 1,000 years ago. My boy is spending the day at Miss Carter's. Oh, Mr. Carter, my little boy is spending the day at your house.
Is he?
Yes, he loves it there. Mother Gibbs, we have a Ford, too. Never gives any trouble. I don't drive, though. Mother Gibbs, does this feeling go away of being one of them? How long does it last?
Dear, just wait and be patient.
I know. Look, they're finished. They're going. Shh. Look, Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you. He looks just like George, doesn't he? Oh, I never realized before how troubled and how in the dark live people are. Look at him. I loved him so. From morning till night, all they are, troubled. A little cooler than it was. Yes, the rain's then cooled off a little. Those northeast winds always do the same thing, don't they? If it isn't rain, it's a 3-day blow. But Mother Gibbs, one can go back. One can go back and live. I feel it. I know it. Why, just for a moment, I was thinking about the farm, and just for a minute I was there, and my baby was on my lap as plain as day.
Yes, of course you can.
I could go there and live all those days over again. Well, why not?
All I can say, Emily, is don't.
But it's true, isn't it? I could go and live back there again.
Yes, some have tried, but they soon come back here.
Don't do it, Emily. Emily, don't. It's not what you think it'll be.
I won't live over a sad day. I'll choose a happy day. I first knew I loved George. Why should that be painful?
Well, you not only live it, but you watch yourself living it.
Yeah.
And as you watch it, you see the things that they, down there, never know. You see the future. You know what's going to happen afterwards.
But why?
That's not the only reason why you shouldn't do it, Emily. When you've been here longer, you'll see that our life here is to forget all that and to think only of what's ahead and to be ready for what's ahead. When you've been here longer, you'll understand.
But Mother Gibbs, how could I ever forget life? It's all I know. It's all I had.
Oh, Emily, don't. It isn't wise. Really, it isn't.
It's the thing I must know for myself. I'll choose a happy day anyway.
No, at least choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day in your life. It will be important enough.
Then it can't be since I was married, or since the baby was born. I can choose a birthday at least, can't I? I choose my 12th birthday.
All right, February 11th, 1899, a Tuesday. You want an equal time of day?
Oh, I want the whole day.
Then we'll begin at dawn. You remember it had been snowing for several days, but it stopped the night before, and they had begun clearing the roads. The sun's coming up.
There's Main Street, and there's Mr. Morgan's drugstore before he changed it, and there's the livery stable.
Yes, it's 1899. This is 14 years ago.
Oh, that's the town I knew as a little girl. And look, there's the little white fence that used to be around our house. Oh, I'd forgotten that. Oh, I love it so. Are they inside?
Yes, they are. And your mother will be coming downstairs in a minute to make breakfast.
Will she?
And you remember your father had been away for several days. He came back on the early morning train.
No.
He'd been back to his college to make a speech in Western New York, at Clinton.
Look, there's Howie Newsom. There's our policeman. But he's dead. He died.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mr. Webb. You're up early?
Yeah, it's just back to my old college. Been any trouble here?
I was called up this morning to rescue a Polish fellow. Darn near froze to death he was.
Just get the paper.
Oh, twant much.
Papa.
Good morning, Mr. Newsom. It's cold.
10 below by my bar, Mrs. Webb.
Think of it. You were self wrapped up.
Morning, Mother.
How did it go, Charles?
Oh, fine, I guess. Told him a few things. Everything all right here?
Yes. Can't think of anything special that's happened. Been right cold, though. Howie Newsom said it's 10 below over at his barn.
Yes, well, it's cold in that Hamilton College. Students' ears are falling off. Everything all right in the paper?
No mistakes that I noticed. Coffee's ready when you want it. Charles, don't forget, it's Emily's birthday. Did you get her something?
Yes, I've got something right here. Where's my Emily? Where's the birthday girl?
Charles, don't interrupt her now. You can see her at breakfast. She's slow enough as it is. Hurry up, children, it's 7 o'clock. Now, I don't want to call you again.
I can't bear it. They're so young and beautiful. Why do they ever have to get old? Mama, I'm here. I'm grown up. I love you all. Everything. I can't look at everything hard enough. Can I go in? Good morning, Mama.
Well, now, dear, a very happy birthday to my girl, and many happy returns. There are some surprises waiting for you on the kitchen table.
Oh, Mama, you shouldn't have. I can't. I can't.
But birthday or no birthday, I want you to eat your breakfast, good and slow. I want you to grow up and be a good, strong girl. That and the blue papers from your Aunt Carrie. And I reckon you can guess who brought the postcard album. I found it on the doorstep when I brought in the milk. George Gibbs. It's come over pretty early. Right nice of him.
Oh, George, I've forgotten that.
Chew that bacon good and slow. Keep you warm on a cold day.
Mama, just look at me 1 minute as though you really saw me. Mama, 14 years have gone by. I'm dead, Mama. You're a grandmother, Mama. I married George Gibbs, Mama. Wally's dead too, Mama. His appendix burst on a camping trip to North Conway. We felt just terrible about it. Don't you remember? But just for a moment, we're together now. And Mama, just for a moment, we could be happy. Let's look at one another.
That and the old paper is something I found in the attic among your grandmother's things. You're old enough to wear it now, and I thought you'd like it.
And this is from you. Why, Mama, it's lovely. It's just what I wanted. It's beautiful.
Well, I hoped you'd like it. Hunted all over. Your Aunt Nora couldn't find one in Concord, so I sent all the way to Boston. Wally has something, too. He made it in manual training class. Be sure to make a big fuss about it. He's very proud of it. And your father has a surprise for you. Don't know what it is. Oh, here he comes.
Where's my Emily? Where's the birthday girl?
I can't go on. It all goes by so fast. We don't have time to look at one another. I didn't realize, so all that was going on and we never noticed. Take me back, up the hill to my grave. But first, wait. One more look. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners, Mama and Papa. Goodbye to ticking clocks, and Mama's sunflowers, and food, and coffee, and new iron dresses, and hot baths, and sleeping and waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anyone to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life while they're living it, every moment?
No. Well, the saints and poets, maybe. They do some.
I'm ready to go back.
Were you happy?
I listen to you. That's all human beings are. Just blind people.
Look, it's clearing up. The stars are coming out.
Oh, Mr. Stimson, I should have listened to them.
Yes, now you know. Now you know. That's what it was to be alive, to move about in a cloud of ignorance, to go up and down trampling on the feelings of those about you, to spend and waste time as though you had a million years, to be always at the mercy of some self-centered passion or another. Now you know. That's the happy existence you wanted to go back to. Ignorance and blindness.
Simon Stimson, that ain't the whole truth, and you know it. Emily, look at that star. I forget its name.
My boy Joel was a sailor. Knew 'em all. He'd sit on the porch evenings and tell 'em all by name. Yes, sir. Wonderful.
That star is mighty good company.
Yes, 'tis.
Here's one of them coming.
That's funny. Tain't no time for one of them to be here. Goodness sakes.
Mother Gibbs, it's George.
Shh. Dear, just rest yourself.
Mother Gibbs.
Yes, Emily?
They don't understand, do they?
No, dear. They don't understand.
Most everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners. There are a few lights on. Shorty Hawkins down at the depot. He's just watched the Albany train go by. And at the livery stable, somebody's setting up late and talking. Yes, it's clearing up. There are the stars, doing their old crisscross journeys in the sky. Scholars haven't settled this matter yet, but they seem to think there are no living beings up there. Just chalk or fire. Only this one is straining away all the time to make something of itself. The strain's so bad that every 16 hours, everybody lies down and gets a rest. 11 o'clock in Grover's Corners. You get a good rest too. Good night.
Are we recording? Yep. All right. So this is.
All right, this is. You want to say it?
Page 6.
Gibbs
Eat your breakfast scene.
All right. Don't be laughing. All right.
I'll
sorry.
speak to your father about it. With...
Fine.
All right. Let's just. Ready?
Stop. Wait. You don't have. Hold on. We don't have to start a new recording. Just control yourself.
Exactly.
Then when you're ready, start.
I could just edit this out. Ready? 3.
Put it in the bloopers reel.
We're like the bloopers reel. I'm just like laughing.
Don't count down, because then you'll be able to get that in the recording, maybe.
I know. Ready?
Just needs fun time for you.
Fine. I see.
I got it.
Forgot to do. Oh. You started recording again. Do not delete that.
All right, so we're doing this again.
This is Act 1, page 13.
Yay. That was better.
All right. This is page 29, George and Emily scene, I guess. All right.
When she muted.
All right, it is recording. So anytime. Oh wait, you have to say the page.
There's gonna be a blooper alarm.
Anyways, this is recording. I'm gonna pause it. Okay, this is page 36.
I don't need to go and meet the other people in other towns. You're making me do a lot of editing here. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know where the lines went.
Look at the camera when you're ready.
This is Sam Craig and Joe Stoddard. Page with.
Okay. Okay. But George, maybe it's important for you to go and learn.
We do the line.
Yep.
Postcard album. Found it on the doorstep this morning. George Gibbs must have come over pretty cold and early.
George.
I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa tonight.
Why, George? I don't see why you have to. I'm so sorry.
All right, let's go back to. But George, maybe it's.
I do wish I could get you to go away someplace and get a rest. I think it would do you good. I declare you've got to speak to George.
All right, there we go. I mean, yes, a few edits.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine though. I can, but it's not that hard to edit out.
Well, I was just saying to Mrs. Gibbs is how it may lighten up. Mrs. Newsom told me to tell you how. Where are we?
Do the cat calling.
Oh, dude.
Oh my goodness. All right, nice job, guys. Back to Maine. Peace.
Mason!
Jen.
Welcome back.
Jen.
Took a lot
Elaine, this is Gracie.
Before I send the
we got her Saturday.
Before I send the video to you, I'm going to throw it into my own editor and cut some parts.
She's a golden doodle.
Because
Okay.
We had some redos mid-scene that I'm going to.
I love it.
Yeah, that's fine.
They were all due to me.
Balloon.
Hanging out.
Oh, that's who else is
That's
here.
what it was
Jalen was recording with Mason.
Yeah, I never stopped my recording.
And today's another pretty bad blow for him too.
Are we doing the lines of the dead?
Yes.
Oh.
Fine.
Just pretend I'm not.
No, because I know you're just like sitting there, like listening and watching me.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn my video back on. Okay. So I'm here, right? I'm going this way. So I guess
The nails, they keep getting me.
And I'm going to walk away.
Okay, is it?
I'm still unmuted. Do I sound far away? Because this is as far away as I can go.
Okay. Do I just go?
Yeah, just go whenever.
I'm gonna say the page name and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
This is Act 3, page 47 and 48, the monologue.
There we go.
Yay!
Yay! Wow.